I do think that it gives you warp sense of self-esteem where you don't feel like you're good enough because you're watching something like Love Island and your body doesn't look like that. And the only people allowed on that show are people that look like that. And then I think from the other standpoint, people that have been on the show and maybe didn't win or maybe showed a side of themselves that they can't take back anymore, that's got to be really hard for their self-esteem moving forward and their confidence moving forward. So I think that it's, again, fun to watch, but understanding that it is a warped reality TV. It's not just
Yeah.
reality TV.
I mean, everyone's always like, I blame the edits. I blame the edits. Like, yeah, if we kept the camera running all day long, my life would be really boring. But if you summarize the entire thing in 5 minutes of my worst moments, I'm sure you would think I was a horrible person.
Welcome to Her Unshakeable Confidence with dynamic mother-daughter duo Simone and Olivia Knego, where they discuss the secrets of transformation and how to build bold confidence and unwavering resilience. From intimate conversations with inspiring guests to sharing their personal journeys of triumph and challenge, Simone and Olivia create a supportive space where every woman is encouraged to rise above her fears and love the woman in the mirror. Tune into Her Unshakeable Confidence and join this special journey of connection and growth. It's like catching up with old friends who inspire you to be bravely and uniquely you.
Thank you for being here on this week's episode of Her Unshakable Confidence. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego.
Today we're going to talk about something real. Reality TV.
It's super real.
And reality TV and how it affects confidence, or does it?
Do you want a little history on reality TV?
Yes, I want history.
So let's go back. First writer's strike. This is like before reality TV. All the writers are on strike for all the popular sitcoms. Oh my God, what are the TV networks going to put on? In comes reality TV. You don't need crafted writers to be able to write a TV show like that. And especially the first couple reality TV shows weren't at all scripted. The first one being, oh my God, it's like, I'm pretty sure it was Jessica Simpson, right?
I'm looking to see. Well, actually, they say the first, it's kind of funny because it's not really like what we think of as reality TV, but the first reality TV show they say is Candid Camera from 1948, where they would basically kind of almost play like a joke on you. And then at the end, like you think this thing is happening and then they're like, you're on Candid Camera.
Oh, I mean,
So,
they still do that.
Yeah.
That's still like a thing, but
modern is MTV's The Real World in like 1992.
Okay.
So
but like the way we know reality TV in like the 2008 and the influx of it has come from the writer's strike and like people not wanting to rely on writers.
It was a brilliant a brilliant model, right? You could get people to come on. You barely had to pay them, right? Some shows it was just that you were working towards a prize, right? They would feed them and house them or whatever. Some not.
A lot of shows still, it's like you're working towards a prize.
And
you have to pay them, like, obviously, we looked this up, by the way, like, we looked this up a couple of years ago. You still have to pay them because, like, they're part of, depending on the show, the way they write their contracts, but it's, like, minimal pay. Like, we're talking, like, $1,000 a week, which obviously is still a lot, but
it's not like you're getting $1 million,
it's not TV
per
money.
episode, like some of the actors get. So
it's low budget, it's low cost, and it's high entertainment because it's a stupid little commercial that's like going off on Peacock all the time now. I don't even remember what show it's for, but one of the things is like people love a good reunification story, but they love to watch a train wreck more. And they do. That's why we love reality TV. We love to watch other people's lives go bad.
Yeah, it's really an escape mechanism for us, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what we have in our lives, good, bad, indifferent. We love to watch other people struggle. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not just watching them struggle. It's really understanding that we're not alone in our struggles. I think in that part, it's kind of like a connection piece.
Yeah,
but
to some extent. I mean, for your shows that you watch, like you watch the more like Animal Planet, Lost type shows. I watch like shitty reality dating shows, or like I do like, I will say, love a good Food Network reality show. Think those ones are great. But I mean, the ones I like are like the random dating ones, because to me, they're so ridiculous. Like, there's this one on Netflix, and I don't know if they renewed it for a second season, and it was a lesbian dating show, and it was like all like fully in it couples that were just swapping partners because like one of them wanted to get married and one of them didn't. So it was like, see, like like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah, there's so many out there. So I remember once we were walking through Disney. I don't know if you remember this. There was
Yeah.
one where you could swap moms, and Rob was like, we should sign up for this, like reality TV. Like you could do this. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And do I want someone else, like, even
Is
for
that your
2 weeks
legacy?
raising my kids, right?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
that part, whatever, but like your legacy on the internet for the rest of your life would be that.
I think people didn't understand for a long time really what that meant, that when you're
Oh
out there like
yeah.
that, you're out like that forever. So
Mhm.
you can't be forgiven for that's what you're going to be remembered for, good, bad. You're going to be remembered for that. And I like a lot of different kinds of reality TV. Mostly, you're right, like I like Food Network stuff. I like shows that are competition shows. I we watched a lot of this one show called Alone, and for me it sucked me in, and honestly I don't really understand why, because here's the premise of this show. They basically drop the people off in the Arctic. It started like outside of Canada, and then it went further and further north where it was obviously colder and colder and almost impossible to survive. And they drop you off, and you have to carry this. You're like your own camera crew. So you have this huge thing of cameras that you have to record everything that you do. You have to build your own shelter. You have to catch your own food. You get a few tools that I think you get to bring like 10 things with you. And we got sucked into the show. And here's the ridiculous thing. We're sitting there watching these people not be able to find food, literally losing so much weight they have to be pulled from the show, and we sit there drinking wine and eating our snacks. Like, there is something wrong with this picture. I
Yeah.
mean, but that's what we do, we totally. I have a new phone. I don't know how to silence it,
You
so
have a new phone?
yeah, I have a new phone, so sorry about that.
Wow.
Well, I had to get a phone. Okay, we're taking a break for a second. I had to get a new phone because I'm giving my old phone. My old phone is paid off to Emma so that we can unlock it and she can put her SIM card for the UK in there. So that way we don't have to get like a whole plan over there. She can get more of a temporary kind of thing. So
So
that's
she's
what we're
gonna have
doing.
2 phones?
No, I don't know what we're doing with the second one yet. I don't know what we're doing with the current one, but let's go back to reality
Okay.
TV because that's enough
Okay.
reality for me right now. So, anyways, but it's like this ridiculous thing that we're sitting there on the couch watching people basically starve as we have our snacks. And I don't know. I feel like there's something inherently wrong with that picture.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, but isn't that just like the comfort of American media? It's what we all look forward to at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is you can vicariously live through other people without having to go through any of their really good moments or the really bad moments.
Yeah. I think it's a big part of it that we can just sit there and pretend that everything else that's going in our lives, we can ignore that for a moment. So I think that's one thing that people really do like about it, is that you can push everything aside, but it's all still there when you finish watching that show. But some of the shows I feel are really almost like social media. I feel is
Mm-hmm.
really zapping our self-esteem. I feel the same for some of these reality shows. So we watched one, and again, we got sucked in. Your dad turned on a show. He thought it was a rom-com, okay? It turned out to be 90 Day Fiancé the other way.
Dude,
We
how did
got
he get
sucked
that
in.
messed up?
I have no idea, but
Okay.
he saw a thing about relationships, so he thought it was going to be like this comedy, and we watched the first episode, and we were like hit by a bus. We were like, how is this possible that these people are doing this. They meet a person from another country. They decide to go after them. They've known them for like, I don't know, 9 days. They get married. Some of them get married. And then the other ones are just following them to another country. And you can see that a lot of these people, and I don't want to be judgmental at all, but they need to work on themselves, right? I think so much of what our relationships are about is our relationship with ourselves first. And you can tell that these people have not done that work and don't have the confidence that they need to kind of find a person for them that is worthy of them instead of someone that is, I don't know, it's just for reality TV.
Yeah. I mean,
Have you watched that one?
Yeah, I've watched like a lot of different ones, but yeah, the 90 Day Fiance, and I've watched the one where they do it the other way as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that we have really harsh standards of love in the United States, and mostly of like standards of when you should have achieved it. And I feel like it starts when you're a teenager. You got like that bucket list of when am I going to lose my virginity? When am I going to have my first kiss? And I think it keeps going of everyone around me is meeting their first boyfriend and moving in. And then it turns into everybody's getting engaged and everybody's getting married. And I'm in my 30s and I still haven't had my first relationship. And then you're like, oh crap, I have to go with the first person that shows me interest. And I think in these cases, it just like happens to be some foreign person they met on the internet or otherwise. But I mean, I think it kind of just shows how messed up the like our love system here is a little bit in the United States, that people just have to, like, you shouldn't in any situation like follow the first person you meet after 8 days.
Yeah, it was hard to turn. And again, like you said, we like to watch train wrecks, right? I mean, why do they call when there's an accident? It slows down, even if it's on the other side of the highway. People, it's the bottleneck. People want to look at these things, and it's kind of a really hard thing to stomach. That's a really big piece of our humanity, that we like to see things that have happened to other people. But watching this show, I just thought there's one family where the mother leaves her grown children to move to India for a guy. Now, she's been communicating with him online. She's met him in person once, and kind of leaves her kids and her grandkids behind, like quits her job, sells all of her belongings, and moves to India. And she gets there, and it's like, first of all, hello, the culture is completely different, right? And it's not very common for that to happen. And so every time they went somewhere, they would get stares, they would get comments, and not to mention the fact she is 30-something years older than him. Okay. That was another factor. I forgot to mention that one. And it turns out that he's already married to somebody. So
That's crazy.
She leaves her whole life behind and she comes over and he's already married. But we're at the place where I think she moves back, but supposedly he follows her back. He eventually comes to the States and they've still been together. So, it's not for me to judge what real love is, but the way things are portrayed, I think it is kind of harmful for the people who are watching it, that just thinking that you should throw everything away for someone else when you haven't worked on yourself first.
Yeah. I think that you shouldn't give up anything for anybody else.
There's compromise. There's compromise for sure. There's working together. I mean, every relationship.
To India for a guy that you've only met one time.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And your sister and I were talking about it. I was like, what would you say to me? She was like, I would say to you, you cannot go. This is the dumbest thing ever. I mean, of course, I wouldn't ever do something like that because I have worked on myself and I wouldn't just throw everything away for someone I didn't know. Plus, I'm happily married. Hello. But still,
Hi,
Rob. So, but still, it's hard to stomach. And then you see it the other way too, where a daughter is leaving and the daughter is moving from the States to South Africa for a guy that she was met in person once before. They've been like dating, talking to each other. Well, it turns out he's got a gambling addiction. He's been in rehab for 6 months or whatever. She didn't tell her mom this whole situation. And she's moving to South Africa with her son from her first relationship. And your sister said, "What would you say to me?" I'd said, "No, you are not going. There's no way you are going." Right. And
Yeah.
because that's going to turn out well.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's silly that people would do that, but like to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, to each their own. But I think the problem is, if we're talking about self-esteem, if we're talking about confidence, we see these things happening, and something like that becomes normalized, right? It becomes normalized. So
Yeah.
as an audience, I think it's kind of harmful.
I agree. I mean, I think it kind of paints the story of like, to fulfill some sort of urge, need in your life, you have to go to somebody else, which is just not true. And it also is saying that going to somebody else kind of has to come at the expense of your already well-established life.
Yeah, the idea of giving everything up. And in relationships, we do give a lot up, right?
Yeah.
If you really want a relationship, it is about compromise. It is about figuring out what works best for both of you. And I can say that after 31 years of marriage, that's what you do, right? You figure out what
Mhm.
works best for both of you. Sometimes it's really hard. A lot of times it's really hard. But watching one person give up everything kind of is troubling to me, right? And I think it's troubling for when other people watch it and feel like that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that that's just a bad standard that we need to, I don't know, it's something that I think needs to be fixed. I don't know how prevalent it is in everyday life, but yeah, I think a lot of it, like, it's really hard to kind of, especially as like a young adult that is in a relationship and is like having to make like, you know, big decisions for the first time that just don't just affect me. It's kind of hard because compromise is like hard to picture.
Mm.
And a lot of the times it kind of just feels easier if it's like either my way or the highway, or just like do whatever the other person wants.
Well, yeah, it's always easier just to make a choice like that, but
Yeah.
things don't last if you make choices
Well,
like that.
that, and it's just kind of hard, like, as especially as a young adult, to think about someone else when you're trying to figure out your life, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely it gets a little bit well, I think it gets a little bit easier as you get older, because right now you're just in the, you know, the throngs of law school, and so much of your time is committed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the podcast. But so
Yeah.
much of your time is committed to your work that you have to figure out how to kind of make sure that there's enough time for your relationship as well.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like thinking about future, like, I have to think about where he wants to be as well as where I can
Mm,
get a job. Like, it's not just a me decision, and that's kind of an interesting place to be in life. It's like you have to think beyond yourself, and I think people struggle with that. And obviously that's why you have these reality shows of someone being like, well, I can't give up my life, so I guess I'll just move.
I've never watched, well, I shouldn't say never. I mean, I think I've watched a couple episodes of The Bachelor, Bachelorette. What do you think about that in term? Have you ever watched that?
I've watched part of it with Millie. She
Yeah,
loves
so
it.
what do you think about that in terms of when we talk about
Well,
confidence and self-esteem and kind of warped view of reality?
so I would say, like, 5 years ago, if I was asked this question, that is like the whole concept of confidence on that show is like ridiculous. Like, the idea of like both men and women kind of like standing up to, you know, potentially find the partner, which is like, come on, you know, they're just here for the money, etc. I think like there's been like two couples that have like 25 seasons that have been successful. 25 of The Bachelor and then like 25 of The Bachelorette. And now they have like all the different variations too, whatever. But now I think from just like insider stuff that I know and then just like the general atmosphere around it, like it is now, I think, just a competition for money. And not even money, because I don't think you win anything if you don't actually end up getting engaged. I think it's like for your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
And so I think people go on it now not trying to look for love. I think they're looking for any sort of fame, sponsorship, brand deals. But I think confidence does come up in it because, I mean, they choose very obviously traditionally attractive individuals, and who actually they have to bring their own clothes. So there's like that level of it.
I think there's the weird thing for me about like you're basically dating all these people at the same time, like
Yeah, I
trying to figure
never
out which one is
got
the rest.
that.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
like,
don't get it. I feel like, and then also like, especially, I don't know, for The Bachelor, like, I hate competition amongst women for a man. Like, I hate the concept of that. Like, the idea of fighting with other women over a male's attention to me is just like really archaic and gross. Um, so definitely don't mess with it.
so my favorite reality TV show has nothing to do with relationships. It's Survivor. And I applied once. I didn't get on. I might apply again. I think it would be something really fun.
Dude, I feel like you would get on now, bro. Like, I literally just think you would.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I've got to
It's
come up
like
with a good
some of
video
the
and
one of those things I'm like confident in. No, like I just feel like you have a good story.
yeah, I have a great story. But,
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I think you
thank
should
you.
go on Survivor. I
Thank
think
you.
that'll be really funny.
Yeah. Okay. I'll work on that
But
application
you know,
next.
that show is kind of stupid too. Like, why are you subjecting yourself to that kind of torture?
For me, that is more of kind of seeing what you're capable of. Like, and for me, it's like, okay, having the confidence of, okay, sure, I could just go do little things and see what
You
I'm
could
capable of.
like, why do you want to eat gruel? I guess overall, to be quite honest, guys, I don't really like reality TV because I don't like to think about it as real. Like,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times I'm like, how could this person, like, I can't believe this is someone's real life that I'm watching. And I have to be like, nah, this isn't real. Like, there's no way this is real.
Yeah. Your dad was saying that actually when we were watching this 90 Day Fiancé. He's like, this has to be made up. Like, this
Yeah.
has to be
I
made up.
can't, I like it hurts my body for it to be real.
Yeah. And for people to, I mean, maybe one thing I appreciate on there is people are just raw, right? They just are showing such intimate parts of their lives that
Yeah.
might, I
That's
mean,
fair.
right? So like, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I feel like that's
At least it's not
attractive for
fake.
people to see. Like they're putting it all out there, right? They're
Yeah.
showing, okay, here's my fiance who I then marry has a huge gambling addiction, and she talks about all of the things, and so it's all out there. And maybe in some respects people are like, oh, okay, I struggle with that too, but I still think that at the end of the day it's really hard to watch some of these things and think that they're real.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate thinking that some of these are real. It's just like a weird feeling a lot of the times. And like with the competition, like nature based shows, I'm just like, you people are crazy.
Yeah.
But with the love and like, this is my reality show, even especially like the TLC ones, because they're like hard hitting and deep. All the time, I'm just like, a lot of times I just say like, thankfully this isn't my life. I'm thankful that that's not my life.
Right.
But I guess that's kind of what the reaction that they're looking for is. Like, in some aspects, people just want to watch it because it's so foreign to them. And then they can go back to the comfort of their lives.
Do you think it has as much of an impact as social media does? So like talk about a show like, which I've never watched, but I know your sisters watch it, Love Island, a show like that. How does that impact the people who are watching it? Because again, it's one of those weird things where you have.
Well, I think there's so many layers to Love Island because, like, I think basis wise, people know that that is like such a sham, bro. Like, they are going on there not only for their 15 minutes of fame, but it's like for the brand deals. I think that while it's not like in the show's values, the fact that you're seeing only hot people walk around in a pretty much no clothes all day, don't think that's a great message to,
Yeah,
whoever's
it's definitely
watching.
not a great message. Yeah.
Definitely have like heard friends that watch it consistently just, like say offhand comments like, oh gosh, I wish I looked like this, or like I could never go on that show. I'm not pretty enough. Which is like, such a stupid sentiment. Like, it's a TV show. I just don't get Love Island because I have never like understood that, like, why the idea once again of like competing for love.
Well, I don't even know if it's competing for love. They're like, I know it's called
But
Love
they're not
Island.
really competing
They're like,
for love.
they're trying each other out.
Yeah.
Right? Let me try this one. Doesn't taste so good. Let me go to this one,
Yeah.
Like, when does
And
that,
it's just like for the drama of it all.
Yeah, but people love drama.
I mean,
People
yeah,
do.
like I love Florida Bama Shore. So it's like, it's literally not even a competition. It is literally, they just put these people in a house and all they have to do is live together. And that in itself is funny.
And what, like, they just, do
It's
some
just so
leave because they
trashy.
can't handle it?
They're just so trashy that they'll go out and someone will spill a drink and it'll be the end of the freaking world. Yeah. But it's in Panama City Beach. So like, it makes sense. If you've ever been to PCP, you'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just feel like all of these shows now, obviously I watch some of them, but all of these shows just kind of.
But why would you not? It's like, thank God my life isn't like that.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, if you look at the Real Housewives ones, I'm like, thank God my life, or like, I wish kind of, not like, thank God.
No, you don't.
I wish I had that kind of money.
No, you don't. Because money doesn't buy happiness.
Yeah, honestly,
come on.
And then the new one right now, I need to watch it. That's like The Secret Life of Mormon Wives. That's insane.
Yeah, that one I might watch for a little bit.
Yeah, because I think it's very drama filled.
But the other thing is, I think a lot of times that some of these shows are reflecting, or I guess I'll say reflecting, a portion of the population that is so small. And then we believe that this stereotype is true.
Yeah,
right?
If you go back to like the was it just Sister Wives, and now that show's over, and literally all of like the wives ended up divorcing him, or a lot have now because he's horrible. The matriarch or patriarch on that show, but like that just brings up. I don't know that many Mormons, but I don't even know of one that has multiple wives now.
Yeah, I know somebody that's Mormon, and we've had actually quite a few conversations about this. And it's kind of sad how we judge instantaneously, right? We don't truly try to understand what someone's beliefs are, and that just because, there were times where multiple wives were okay, but it wasn't just in the Mormon religion. Many religions, multiple wives were okay, right? It's not okay anymore, but it's really understanding that just because you see one couple like this, that doesn't represent the entire population. And I think that's something that reality TV does to us, is it makes us truly believe that this is what happens everywhere.
Oh, I completely agree with that. I think it just like, if that's the only exposure you have to that culture, that's the image you have. And obviously, like, it's a dramatized form of television, and it's going to be like some good parts, but a lot of the bad parts. And it just is like a negative image in your head.
Yeah. So I think there's two parts that I kind of want to wrap up with is, first of all, the effects on the people that are watching these shows, right? I do think that it gives you this warped self-esteem, warp sense of self-esteem, where you don't feel like you're good enough because you're watching something like Love Island, and your body doesn't look like that. And the only people allowed on that show are people that look like that. And then I think from the other standpoint, people that have been on the show and maybe didn't win, or maybe showed a side of themselves that they can't take back anymore, that's got to be really hard for their self-esteem moving forward and their confidence moving forward. So I think that it's, again, fun to watch, but understanding that it is a warped reality TV. It's not just reality TV.
I mean, everyone's always like, I blame the edits. I blame the edits. Like, yeah, if we kept the camera running all day long, my life would be really boring. But if you summarize the entire thing in 5 minutes of my worst moments, I'm sure you would think I was a horrible person.
Yeah, I always thought that. People said to us, you guys should have a reality TV show when the kids were younger, to follow our family around. And I was like, no, because it's manipulated, right? It doesn't see all the parts. They want the drama.
Most of our everyday, I always thought about that. Like, most of our everyday was so boring, but there'd be like one moment a week where we were just like all so horrible to each other. Yeah. And that's what would be posted online. And oh my God, like, could you imagine right now? Like, I have to go take the bar exam. I have to go sit in front of the bar commissioner. It's like, yeah, I was on a reality TV show. I called my sister a B word one time. Like, sorry about that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So, I think that a lot of times people forget, and it's just a reminder that this is what happens. It's out there forever. Make good choices with social media, with reality TV, and understand that it's you're watching it as they do things, but it doesn't mean that it's truly real. It's not it is not what is happening in the rest of the world. It is something that is there for our enjoyment, to watch the drama, to get sucked in by the train wreck. I mean, that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
So it's time for the calendar.
You could throw yourself at something 1,000 times, failing miserably on every attempt, yet succeed on attempt 1,001.
Okay, I love that, because I love talking about embracing your failures. So I'm not really going to connect it to reality TV. I'm just going to.
It's a good quote by itself.
Yeah, it's just a really good quote, because I think that we focus so much on, if we failed, we are therefore a failure. And I think that is the opposite. I think that failure fuels forward momentum. End of discussion. When you have a fail, it fuels you forward. Failure fuels forward momentum. Do you like that?
A lot of F's.
Yeah, it's a lot of F's. You got to say it like really slowly so that you can understand it all. But yeah, when you fail, you move forward. So, and if you fail on reality TV, you move forward.
I don't know. I would just say, like, maybe avoid any of the drama-based shows and go on like the nature-based competition ones. Go on Wheel of Fortune. I don't think anyone's ever happened to
lose their job off of because of going on Wheel of Fortune. So true. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Her Unshakable Confidence. We will see you next time. And always remember, you are unshakable.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Her Unshakable Confidence with Simone and Olivia Knego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Simone Knego and at Olivia Knego. Till next time.